Christian Parker didn't just step to the podium on Wednesday. He stepped into expectation. The Dallas Cowboys officially introduced him weeks after the hiring, but timing wasn't the real story. The atmosphere felt less procedural and more symbolic. This wasn't just another assistant coach press conference. It was the unveiling of a man tasked with repairing a defense that has struggled for identity. In Dallas, defensive leadership isn't optional, it's foundational. Parker spoke calmly, measured, intentional. There was no over-the-top bravado, no empty slogans. Instead, he leaned into structure, accountability, and clarity. That tone matters more than many realize. The Cowboys don't need noise, they need direction. And for the first time in a while, the messaging felt organized. But messaging alone doesn't move the needle. In Dallas, symbolism only carries weight if execution follows. And that's where this story truly begins. Parker emphasized communication and alignment as pillars of his defense. He spoke about simplifying responsibilities while demanding sharper execution. It sounded modern, adaptable, and detail-driven. That's important because Dallas' defensive struggles weren't about talent alone. They were about cohesion, about knowing when to adjust and when to attack. Too often, the unit looked reactive rather than proactive. His language suggested flexibility without chaos. He referenced situational awareness, disguises, and disciplined aggression. In theory, it's exactly what this roster needs. But theory has betrayed Cowboys fans before. This franchise has mastered offseason optimism over 3 decades. The infamous drought doesn't disappear with PowerPoint slides. Parker understands that, at least publicly. He didn't promise transformation, he promised work. That subtle difference may prove crucial. Let's be honest. Every coordinator in Dallas coaches under history. The drought isn't just a statistic, it's psychological gravity. 30 years without a championship shapes perception. Defensive coordinators here don't inherit patience. They inherit skepticism. Results must arrive faster than development cycles normally allow. Parker now carries that reality. Even if ownership doesn't say it directly, urgency defines this job. Improvement must be visible early. The defense can't merely rank better. It must look disciplined in big moments. It must close games instead of surviving them. That's the real assignment. Not just tactical upgrades, cultural stabilization. And that's far more complex. If Parker succeeds, the ripple effect is massive. A stabilized defense changes playoff ceilings instantly. It alters how aggressively Dallas can operate offensively. It would also validate the front office's decision-making. This hire wasn't splashy, it was strategic. Success would signal maturity in roster construction. Failure, however, compounds doubt. Another defensive reset would reopen questions about long-term vision. Continuity becomes harder to defend. This season isn't only about improvement. It's about credibility. For Parker and for the organization. That's why Wednesday mattered. Not because of what was said, but because of what now must follow. So what did we actually learn? We learned Parker understands the moment. He didn't try to oversell it. There was humility in his approach. That's refreshing in a market addicted to declarations. He spoke like someone aware of the microscope. Still, awareness doesn't equal impact. The Cowboys don't need philosophical clarity alone. They need fourth-quarter stops. This hire feels calculated, not desperate. That's a positive sign. But proof lives on Sundays, not podiums. Wednesday may have been the first official step. Now comes the harder part, turning disciplined language into disciplined football. In Dallas, that's the only thing that matters.